only. See dealer for details.
These days, saving time is important, and saving money is even more so. That's where Eagle Masonry and Insulation comes in. Over the years, Eagle has expanded their services to meet the needs of folks like you in our area. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, Eagle can insulate your home and help you save money with fiberglass, spray foam, and cellulose insulation, and can help you decide what's best for your project. Call Eagle Masonry and Insulation today at 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time, and Eagle saves you money.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
It is indeed a Pick 2 Friday. I am up on foggy Sound Mountain, and I do mean foggy Sand Mountain, on the campus of Geraldine High School, home of the Bulldogs, as they're getting ready to take on the Mustangs of Madison Academy. That will be over the airwaves tonight of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Wes Neighbors is out and about and probably getting ready for the SEC championship game, and only how Wes can, and that's prepping for a tailgate, I imagine. How are you, Wes?
I'm doing good, Steve. Exciting day tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of people's lives will be changed for the good and bad after tomorrow. No question about that.
There's a lot of anxiety here in the state. So ultimately, what do you think about the matchup tomorrow?
Well, does Jalen Milroe take the next step? Right? I mean, can he lead this team to a a Southeastern Conference championship. And I never thought I'd be saying it. Beginning of the year, we were going to have to win. I did say I thought we could win with any of the quarterbacks. Now, I never saw the quarterback from Notre Dame play until the South Florida game, so I'll say that we can't win the national championship with him. No, I don't think we can win with him. But I will say that, as we've seen, there's a lot of talent on the team, but the maturity and the class and the big play capability of Jalen Milroe has been incredible, and it has touched, I think, all the Alabama fans. Win, lose, or draw this next game. But I don't think there's any question that Alabama's going to play. Yeah, they're the best team in the conference, but I think Georgia is too. And I'm not sure that Georgia's ready for it. Now, they might go on to win the game, but, this is a different team that they've played. Alabama's a different team than anybody they've played all year, by far. And let's not kid ourselves. The West is a lot better than the East.
Yeah. I know at least the early returns was that maybe we thought the East was a touch better, but I don't think there's any doubt with top to bottom how much stronger the West.
I don't think there's any doubt that from top to bottom, Georgia has the best team either. I'm not going to say. I'm not sure about their defense. I think that people have trouble scoring on them, but people have moved the ball on them.
They have, and especially mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, and this guy, as we know, a lot of quarterbacks will scramble to try to get 8 yards. This guy scrambles, and if you're not careful, he's gone. So I think, I said earlier in the week this is going to be tough for Alabama to win, and I'll stay with that. I think it's going to be a tough game for them to win. But I think we'll know early. I think the key to beating Georgia is for Alabama to get up on them, and then they can talk. We heard Butt Bellew talk about this. It gets in their head. Don't think that they don't realize, and the fans don't, we're going to beat them this time, right?
Yeah.
That little doubt slips into your mind if Alabama will get a lead in everybody's mind. And it's going to be interesting to see how that's handled if Alabama can pull that off. I think that's the way Alabama has to win. I don't think they can. They're not going to fool around with Georgia, get down by 2 touchdowns, and come back and beat them the second half like they did Tennessee. I don't think that. I don't foresee that happening. They're going to have to get on Georgia and then put pressure on the guys on offense to have to make plays to win the game, and hopefully make a couple mistakes like they did, and they kind of follow what they did in the SEC championship 2 years ago.
21, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but we have seen this Georgia team get down early. I think if it's a third quarter deficit, I think that's a whole other animal. That if it's by a point.
But it is. But what I'm saying is, this is a whole different animal. They've gotten down to these teams that aren't any good.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is going to be. They get a lead, they're going to be hard to come back on. I mean, you get Coach Saban. If Coach Saban can get a lead, I'm talking about double-digit lead against and force Georgia just to throw the ball.
Yeah,
that's what they did last time, and they ate them alive. I don't believe that anybody that can block consistently 15 and 41.
Yeah,
they haven't played anybody like them. Those two are the best 2 defensive ends in the country against the pass. When they got a pass. So I just, it's going to be interesting to me. Now, again, I started out saying that Georgia has the best team.
Do you know if 17 is healthy? I mean, how much of 17 are we – Marshall is who we're referencing. How much are we going to see of him tomorrow? I thought you said 15 and 17.
15 and 41.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Ends, the 2 pass rushers. And then, Justin Boygby has six or seven sacks this year. He's been playing incredible. When Alabama is the best, to me, when they know you got to throw the ball, and that's when they dominate. That's when this defense dominates, is when they get a lead, and then the other team has to try to come back, and that's when they dominate, and that's when they become a different animal. Now, if you can run or pass, and you're in control of the game, and it's a close game, and you don't, and you can still run or pass, that's a different story. I think Georgia has the advantage there. But if they can make Georgia have to be one-dimensional, that's how they win this game. That's why I think they have to get a lead. That's why I don't care if it's in the third quarter, fourth quarter. That's going to be the key to Alabama winning, because when Alabama's – look what they did to Auburn when they had to throw the ball. Look what they did to Tennessee when they had to throw the ball. Look what they did to LSU when they had to throw the ball. That's when they're the greatest. That's when their team is a different animal. That's when Kool-Aid and all those guys are very special on the back end, and because of the pass rush. When we know you're going to throw the ball, you have a problem. And so, and that's what I'm talking about. That's why I think that that's what they have to do to Georgia, is get them behind and then make them one-dimensional when they have to throw the ball. And that's when I think Alabama that's how Alabama wins this game. Will they be able to do it? I don't know that. But that's how they win the game.
Well, I mean, it's it sounds pretty simple there, Wes, but
it does sit in this chair right now.
I bet it does. Yeah. Just go do that. Just go do that. Yeah.
Because Georgia's the number one team in the nation for a reason.
They are.
But it's not like everybody Georgia's played this year, they've been bigger than. That's not going to be the case. Right. Everybody that they've played they've been tremendously more athletic. That's not going to be the case. So I just, and Alabama on the flip side hasn't played anybody with these kind of weapons either. They've had weapons, but not like Georgia has. So to me, it's and last time I loved it because everybody picked Georgia, but me.
Yeah.
Right. And now it makes me nervous when people start picking Alabama.
You want me to tell you? I mean, I'm picking Bama. I think Bama's going to win. I really do. No, I think they're playing better. I really do. And Jalen Milroe, so that was that roller coaster ride early on. He's played so consistent. It just over the last month, it's hard not to think that he's just going to say saddle up and have green grass in front of him and roll tide. I mean, what he told me right after the Mississippi State game of just being able to utilize. I don't think we've seen Jalen Milroe full speed, maybe other than a couple of runs this year. One of them was at Mississippi State. Yeah,
when the defensive back barely clipped his foot. He got it so fast at the end. I mean, after he was running across the goal line. That makes. I
didn't mean to give you heartburn right there, but
I won't be able to sleep tonight. Now I was going to be able to go to bed, not worry about it. Now you pick them, I'm in trouble.
Oh boy!
I hope you're right. So
I know you do. I fully believe that would bounce Georgia from the Final Four. That this is a must-win scenario for the number one team.
I can't, and it should. Listen.
Yeah.
If you don't pay a top 40 schedule, and you're in one of these conferences, that means you play nobody other than your people in your conference. So somebody asked me today, well, why shouldn't Florida State go? And I said, well, why don't you send Liberty too? They're undefeated. Well, they didn't play the same teams. Well, there you go. That's the reason you don't put Florida State in either.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, their strength of schedule 66. Now, if they're undefeated and you're in the top 40, and maybe if they beat Louisville, my understanding is now the second string quarterback might not play tomorrow.
That is correct. He's in concussion protocol is the latest that I've read, that they are looking at the third string quarterback, which I mean, at least it appears Louisville may have a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I'm not against Florida State. I really not. I think if you go undefeated, you ought to be.
Yeah, if you're a Power 5, you go undefeated, then you deserve it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you deserve it is the right word, because they did try to play LSU.
You earned it.
Listen, what if Georgia had played Oklahoma and beat Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Do you think they would still get in?
Yes, I do.
This game, they'd still get in.
Yes, I do.
So to me, this is on them.
Yeah.
This is on Georgia for not playing that game. You look at Oregon. I mean, Oregon, if they beat Washington this time, then they'll go. Maybe their strength of schedule goes up in the 40s. I don't know, but if you're not in the 40s, I think a one-loss team that's in the top 10 should go ahead of you.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't just a mud stomping by 3 touchdowns or something, then that makes it different.
Yeah.
Oh, but we put Ohio State in last year, so maybe not. I just think who you play matters. When you're playing, and these teams these major Power 5 teams that don't even try to schedule another Power 5 team, it's just they're asking for their own fate, and that's basically what they told us 12 years ago, or however long when this started 8 years ago when this started, that they wanted to schedule and that you would be rewarded if you did. And that's listen, and I think Texas is the one that's going to get the biggest. From what I see from the press today,
shaft. Yeah.
Talk about if Alabama wins this or that.
Yeah.
Texas is the one that I think might get the jobbing if they don't even if they win. And that's
I don't
wrong.
see. If Bama were to win, I don't see how you can. Yeah.
Keep Texas out. I don't either. I mean, seriously. I mean, they're a top 10 schedule, and you have one loss and you win your conference.
I personally think Sunday, I could be wrong, I think we're going to see Michigan, Oregon, Bama, and Texas. That's, I think, the 4 that will make it.
And truthfully, I think Texas has a chance to win it all.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I think Texas, given the right, they're well coached. They have the best defensive line coach in America, in my opinion. He was at Alabama for a lot of those championships.
Yeah.
Their head coach is a game planner, one of the best offensive game planners I've ever seen. His plan against Ohio State in the 2020 national championship game was brilliant. He absolutely eviscerated Ohio State. The score could have been a lot worse than it was. Their best player didn't even play the second half. They couldn't go, and they couldn't guard him, and he still eviscerated them. I just think that him and Lane Kiffin. It's amazing that Orgeron was the defensive coach, and Lane Kiffin and Sark were the assistant coaches at USC when they went on their run. And you look at those guys, and it's pretty impressive, really.
It really is.
I just think I watched Texas play their last game, and everybody says, well, Alabama's better than them. That's the reason. That's pretty arbitrary in my mind. I think Texas has one loss to Oklahoma in a close game. They lost their quarterback, still won. They won some close games. They did without their first-string quarterback. Now he's back, and they had totally killed Texas Tech. It wasn't even close. And they looked the part to me. They looked the part. Now they might lay an egg tomorrow, but then they wouldn't deserve to get in. But I think if they win, pretty convincingly. I mean, to me, the worst team is Florida State, and maybe they get beat, and that ends all that. You know,
it does.
That opens the door for all.
Maybe. Yeah.
But you know.
But if Florida State wins, then they're undefeated, and it is what it is.
Yep. It is what it is. Exactly right.
Last year it was TCU that we were just like, okay, it is what it is. But then Michigan messed around and lost in the semifinals.
They didn't put the 4 best teams in last year. I don't think if the way it's going now, it doesn't look like they're going to put the best 4 teams into me this year either. But I would if Florida State gets beat.
Who talked about a bunch of ADs on this earlier in the week? That kind of stuck with me and resonated with me. That wasn't Matic, was it? Where I'm trying to think of. Well, was it? Yeah, I think it was Trevor. Yeah, talking about a bunch of ADs on the. By the way, we're going to re-rack that interview coming up in hour number 2, and I don't know why, but that has kind of stuck with me because last year, you're right, they didn't pick the best 4 teams. So. Who's to say that this year is going to be any different?
No. I don't think it will be. Unless the right teams win and lose, they're not. So I think that right now, the top I don't have a problem with any of the top 4 teams, the way they have it. The 5th team, that's a joke in my mind. But not as big a joke as Oregon. Alabama and Texas should be ahead of Oregon.
Yes.
If you look at their schedules and who they've played, then and what their schedule strength is, it should be automatic. It's not comparable. It's not comparable. So
it isn't. It really isn't.
And then you look at. As far as Ohio State being there, well, we know they don't have a shot. I don't know what's the scenario where Ohio State gets in.
Oh,
have you
boy.
seen a scenario? I don't.
I've read it was. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Fox Sports did scenarios for everybody, and Ohio State's was Michigan losing, Florida State losing. For a way for them to get in. But I really, Michigan's going to have to just.
Loses, I don't think Ohio State would go then. And then Michigan loses to Iowa. I think the Big Ten's just done. I mean, I really do. I don't think Ohio State gets in there because it makes the team they lost to worse, I guess.
So, but Wes, you're not factoring in that committee. And
I mean, so that makes me know. So Michigan would have the same record as Ohio State, and they just beat them a week ago.
Yeah.
I don't.
And they played one fewer game than Michigan, but I
think Ohio State's done, and I don't think if Michigan gets beats by if Iowa beats Michigan, I can see him put Michigan in some way though. I can see that. And I'm not worried about playing Michigan, though, at all. As long as they can't bring their own refs.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm 0.
All right, Wes. Enjoy the game, and we'll reconvene on Monday.
All right, Steve. Y'all have a good weekend. Everybody have a good weekend. Hopefully we'll have a lot of good things to talk about Monday.
Indeed. Thank you, Wes. It is a Pick 2 Friday. Phone lines will be open to you. The cloud is lightening up a little, but we are high up here on Sand Mountain, and there is no rain here at Geraldine High School, but there is a significant fog if you happen to be traveling this way, Trudy Arman, towards Geraldine High School. Anyway, it is a Pick 2 Friday. Phone lines open to you at 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977 is the number to be a part of the program. for Pick 2 Friday. We'll dive into the SEC championship game and maybe re-rack some stuff from Coach Saban and Coach Smart from yesterday for their press conference, in case you missed that. But let's start things off with Steve on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you, Steve? Are you there, Steve?
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
Hey, this is Spencer. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hey, Hey, man. So let me tell you, I appreciate you letting me come on here, man. But we're talking the college football playoff, right? And
we are.
I'm looking at these teams that are available to get in, and the four best teams that I see before these games are played this weekend are Georgia, Oregon, Alabama, and Texas. Those are my four best teams in college football right now. Now, will the committee put those four best teams in? No, of course they won't, because they love that Big Ten. They got to beat Michigan in no matter. Doesn't matter how horrible they played. Doesn't matter that their tight end probably runs like a 4.8 40. Doesn't matter that their lineman can't get downfield. I mean, I just don't know what to do here, Steve. I mean, yeah, Bama's got to win it on the field in order to even have a chance. I get that, right? They have to beat Georgia, but you're going to tell me that any of those other top 8 teams, even if Georgia takes a loss to Bama, any of those other top 8 teams are better than Georgia? I just don't see it, man, outside of maybe Oregon. And Texas is great defense.
Yeah, in terms of the best 4 teams, I would go Texas, Bama, Georgia, and Oregon. Those would be my 4, that at least that I've seen, and I think that are the best 4 teams. But it's really hard to know what Michigan is, honestly. Truthfully.
Exactly, because they play in such a cupcake conference. It's like they put such a hype on the Ohio State-Michigan game every year. And why are these two teams undefeated every single year that they come into the Ohio State-Michigan game? Because their conference is a joke. And every time, outside of one miracle with a third-string quarterback and Ohio State gets a championship, outside of that, every time a Big Ten team gets into the Final Four, they get steamrolled. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why do you even give the Big Ten credit to even play in that game? I don't even understand it. Don't even understand it, Steve.
Let's do pick 2, Spencer. Bama, right, Georgia. Who you got? We're looking for winners.
Let's roll with the Tide.
Florida State, Louisville. Who you got?
Man, I got to go with my heart here and pick with the Cardinals, man.
I want total yards for Jalen Milroe tomorrow as your tiebreaker.
Passing and rushing, total yards.
Well, keep in mind it does also factor in sacks by the Georgia defense negatively, if you think that's going to happen.
385.
That is a winning number. There's no doubt about that. All right, Spencer. Appreciate the phone call.
Appreciate it.
Scott is next. How are you, Scott? Are you there, Scott?
This is Jeff.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you, Steve?
Doing well. Doing well.
Just jump on pick 2.
You got it. Bama or Georgia?
Let me have Alabama.
And Florida State or Louisville?
Louisville.
And total yards for Jalen Milroe is your tiebreaker.
315.
It is yours. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Steve. Have a good evening.
Let's try Mike on line 3. Are you there, Mike?
Yes, I am, Steve.
Outstanding. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. I'm sitting out here on the patio. No rain. Cool. Beautiful night.
I'm telling you, it doesn't feel like December, but I know it is. But it feels weird to me.
It does. It's kind of clammy.
But I'll take it.
Yeah, me and you both. Just pick 2, Steve.
You got it. Dogs or Tide?
Dogs.
Woof. And Florida State or Louisville?
Florida State.
Total yardage for Jalen Milrow.
Oh, my God. That's passing and running, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shoot. He's going to be held down. I say 310.
It is yours. Thank you, Mike. Have a good weekend.
Hey, you too. Thank you. Bye.
256-576-4977. Bama Brad is next. How are you, Bama Brad?
Steve, I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight?
I am broadcasting a high school football game tonight. I'm good. I'm better than good because not a whole lot of folks are getting to call high school football tonight.
That's correct. Hey, I got a question. Oregon and Washington. Oregon is favored to blow Washington off the field tonight, and Washington beat them in the first game. Why is everybody so hyped up on Oregon because they want Bo Nix to win the Heisman? Is that why they're getting all the love?
So his individual play has kind of propped them up a little bit, Brad, but Washington has kind of skirted by a couple of opponents over the last month, and that's kind of soured the experts. I haven't seen a whole lot of Washington. I haven't.
Well, that makes me even have more angst for this committee. They've got Washington sitting at number 3, but yet they're supposed to get beat tonight by 2 touchdowns. It just, if you want the 4 best teams, then obviously there's an issue. So I'll be glad when the 12th team gets here next year. Of course, I'm a Bama fan, obviously, but if we don't win tomorrow, we don't deserve in. Simple as that. So we got to win the game tomorrow, and I'm picking Bama to win it.
You got it?
4-21 tomorrow.
And Florida State, Louisville, who you got in that one, Brad?
I'm going to take Louisville. I think Louisville will pull it off.
And total yardage for Jalen Milrow?
I'm going to go 314.
It is yours. Thank you, Brad.
Steve, enjoy your call tonight.
Thank you. I will. 256-576-4977. Wilbur in Bama. How are you, Wilbur?
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Hello. Who am I speaking to? Steve, can you hear me?
This is Steve. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
This is Wolverine Dan, brother.
Oh, Wolverine Dan.
Yeah, what's up? What's up? Man, 'tis the season, man. My wife left me with my son and my grandson. Grandson made a sign. It's got him in a Michigan helmet with a jersey and football pants, and he says, "Harbaugh, I'm your next running back."
That's fantastic.
The kid is natural, like his grandpa. Trust me, he's a natural. Dude, trust me, the kid's good. Anyway, the other guy, they're going to Indianapolis, man, without me. And I told Ginger, says, "You want to go?" I said, "Man, I just come back from Europe, and we're going to San Antonio at the end of the month and everything." I said, "You know what? I'm tired of traveling." I said, "Why don't you just go with the Chad and the grandson, have a good time?" So I'm a bachelor. Yeah, I'm being a bachelor, So I'm doing the Christmas thing, decorating. Now, matter of fact, tomorrow at the Bama game, Wes Neighbors' aunt is coming over, Miss Lee, and I'm making her favorite baby back ribs.
Oh.
And I'm cooking her a big spread, and she's going to hang out with Wolverine Dan, and we're going to watch the Bama game with her girlfriend. She says, "Can she come over?" I said, "Well, sure." So I told my wife, I said, "I got 2 girlfriends coming over. What do you think?"
Well, I wish I could suggest my wife coming over, but she's not feeling well. So
there's plenty of food, Steve.
I know, but she's not feeling well. So we're trying to get my wife
the house
feeling
looks
better.
Really good, right? We decorated the crap out. It looks really good, man. I'm really stoked.
Good.
Anyway, with that said, let's do a little football stuff here. What the heck? I'll pick.
All right, Georgia, Bama.
All day long. Dogs are going to just pound them. It's dogs.
Florida State, Louisville.
Well, now I'm concerned that the protocol with the concussion, you got to go with a third-string quarterback?
Yeah.
Where's it at again? Is it neutral site?
Nah, that would be in Charlotte, and it is supposed to be rainy conditions for the ACC championship game.
Let's go ahead and take Louisville then. Why not? Why not?
Total yardage for Jalen Milroe, your tiebreaker.
Well, that previous call, 300 ain't going to happen. I'll tell you that right now. Not with Georgia's defense. I'll tell you, let's knock off 100 off that. Let's go 200.
Okay. It is yours. Dan,
Hey,
always
listen,
a pleasure, sir.
Your wife is welcome. Just let me know. See
I
you.
will.
Bye.
Let's go ahead and take our first time out. B-Ran, Phillip, we'll get right to you on the other side. It's a Pick 2 Friday as I'm here at Geraldine High School getting ready for some Madison Academy football tonight.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. And when it's time to get your boat ready for cold weather, Freedom Marine is your best choice to winterize your boat so it's ready to go next spring. If you've been thinking about a new boat, Freedom Marine has a great selection on sale now with some of the biggest discounts they've had in a decade. For new and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service and parts, it's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Electric cars are coming faster than you think, and that's why we're bringing SEMA Connect to Alabama.
Our team educates you and helps provide a long-term plan for your business. Where to put them, how to get them there, how to pay for them, tax incentives, service, and monitoring. We take care of everything.
Doing the right thing means bringing EV car chargers to Alabama. Let us help you with your EV charging plan.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
All right, there are certain times I've got time to hit the post on this song. This ain't one of those times. I mean, come on. It's a day before the SEC football championship game, which, by the way, you'll be able to hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone with the Georgia Bulldogs, the 2-time defending national champs, taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Chris Stewart, by the way, will have the play-by-play call. Let's get back to your phone calls on a Pick 2 Friday. B-Ran is up next. How are you, B-Ran?
Doing good, Steve. How are you?
Long time no hear. How you been?
Man, I've been good. Just working a lot.
I hear you there.
14, 15-hour days gets long, man, but, you can't find anybody that wants to work anymore, so. Us old guys got to, pick up the slack.
I hear you. Somebody's got to do it.
That's right. I hope your wife gets feeling better, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
I'll jump on pick 2 real quick.
All right, Bama or Georgia?
All right, well, I'm going to say 2 things. I'm going to pick, okay, what are we playing for in pick 2?
So we go into the prize closet. It's probably going to be some gift cards to Bad Daddy's Burger Bar or some gift cards over to Bigfoot Little Donuts shop. Either way, you're going to win.
All right, so I want to win, so I'm going to pick Georgia.
All right.
And then I'm going to say Roll Tide. I mean, I'm going to pick Georgia, but you know where my heart lies. So.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The second game, I'm taking Louisville all the way. Third-string quarterback, and I think
Louisville just lost to Kentucky.
Yeah, but I think they was looking past Kentucky to Florida State, just like Auburn was with New Mexico State. They weren't worried about New Mexico State. They wanted to be ready for Alabama, and I think that's what Louisville slipped and done last week. So, especially in the rain, a third-string quarterback in the rain at a neutral site, I think Florida State gets beat tomorrow.
Hard to think that there's another reincarnation of Cardell Jones out there somewhere.
Right. And tiebreaker, I'm going to go again because I want to win 2-2-2.
All right.
And I want to give a shout out. This is one of the largest asphalt racing weekends of the year down in Pensacola, the Five Flags Speedway.
Okay.
And one of my best friend's son that I watched him grow up from a kid ran the truck race last night and finished 4th out of the most talented field in the United States. So Presley Johnson out of Hazel Green run 4th last night with the best in the United States.
That's fantastic. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yes, sir. Steve, I hope you have a good weekend. And again, I hope the wife gets feeling better, buddy.
Thank you, B-Ran. How about Big G? Man, Big G, where you been hiding, brother?
Man, I've been hiding. I'm retired, and so I just retired. You know how it goes.
Well, I don't know that yet. I don't. But, man, it's great to hear your voice. I see you a lot on Facebook, and you look good. You look good, although you're not hanging out with the same kind of female companionship there on the beach that we're used to. But, you know.
Right. That's about right. Hey, I want to get in on pick 2. Well, that retirement, man, I decided, I should have started with retirement instead of work. It's a better deal.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one day. I'm not sure what day that will be, but I'm sure I'll get retired for a day and then go right back to work.
That's what I did. But anyway, I want to get in on pick 2.
You got it. Georgia or Bama? And I know probably your opinion would be, can they both lose?
Yeah, well, it depends on penalties there, but Bama's got to do a couple. But, yeah, I mean, both of them, I mean, they try to throw a game away.
Yeah,
I watched them all, but Alabama's got to do a couple things. They have to get pressure on Carson Beck.
Yes.
He gets the ball out of his hands. Somebody said the fastest in the country, like 3 seconds. It's his average. That's pretty quick. They've got to make sure to do something with those tight ends. If Auburn had done something with the tight ends, Auburn would have beat Georgia.
They would have, yeah. I went to the Auburn-Georgia game, and it really was the Brock Bowers drive there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was kind of like, is anybody going to cover that guy? I mean, where's the secret here? They're not making a secret of it.
No.
So, anyhow, yeah, they got to get some pressure on Beck, and they got to do something with those tight ends. And I think if they do that, I think Alabama has the offense to beat Georgia. And Georgia's got a good defense, no doubt. But if Bama's defense, and I think they're good, and Dallas Turner and some of them could get some pressure on Beck, I think Bama wins. So I'm going with Bama.
Okay. Florida State, Louisville.
Florida State and Louisville. With your previous caller, I agree with him. Florida State's running that third-string quarterback. I think if he's not a true freshman, he's a redshirt freshman.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I believe this is going to be his first actual start in the game. I mean, actually, you come in and start a championship game, and Louisville's no slack. And, yeah, I mean, Louisville got beat by Kentucky last week, but that's a rivalry game. Alabama like to got beat by Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was
I wasn't going to bring that up, G. I really wasn't going to bring that up.
I watched it.
I know you did.
I'm a football fan. I get up in the morning and I watch football all day long. I watch everybody.
Yes, sir.
And then on Milroe, total yards.
Oh, so you are picking Louisville, just to clarify.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to go with Louisville because I just don't think – I think they're going to put too much on a freshman quarterback to, you know, he's going to make mistakes and it's going to cost him. And
total yards for Jalen Milroe.
I want to go about 293.
It is yours, Big G.
So
I appreciate you calling in. It's good to hear your voice.
Hope you have a great weekend. Yeah, my kids, I get SEC championship tickets every year. Every year since they started. When did they start in Birmingham in
92? I think it was 92.
Yeah, I've been getting them every year for years and years and years. And so that's my kids' Christmas gift this year. They're all over there in Atlanta.
There you go.
Game tomorrow.
Attaway, Dad. Well done. Well done.
Enjoy. Well, I hope you have a great weekend. And who you calling tonight at the high school game?
Madison Academy at Geraldine, 3A semifinals.
That ought to be interesting. Geraldine looks pretty good this year. I live up
yes, they do.
County. I'm from Boaz.
This is my first time here at Geraldine. Nice folks up here.
Yeah, it's don't slam on the brakes too hard, you'll miss it.
Gee, you're the best. Don't be a stranger.
All right, man. Be careful.
Mark is up next. How are you, Mark?
Hey, I'm doing well. I think everything that's been said has been said. It's time to play football, right? I mean,
yes, it is.
I will add one thing with the tight end for Georgia.
Which one? I'm kidding.
Well, just one, the one that matters. I don't know. You watch Georgia. Has any team doubled him, or not?
A few. A few.
Did Auburn do that? I just
not certainly not late. No, I don't remember them doing that early in the game either. Thought Ole Miss did at one point in that game. I saw UAB double him, and that worked-ish a little bit.
It worked for half, yeah. I guess what I was going to ask you was, can Georgia beat Alabama without him, meaning being productive? Like, are there receivers and their running backs and their
It depends if Ra-Ra's if Ra-Ra is 80%-ish, well, he can be a difference maker. He can.
Okay, very good. And is the injury for Bowers, is it a high ankle sprain just like Tua?
Yes.
And
well, it is. And he's trying to push it a little too much, and it's a pain threshold thing, and at least from what I'm being told. But I'm fully expecting seeing Ladd McConkey tomorrow. I'm fully expecting Brock Bowers as well as Ra-Ra out there tomorrow.
Wow. Well, we'll see how long they last, because Alabama defensively is so fast, and they will hit you. So, we'll see. But I like Alabama in a field goal late.
You got it?
I like Louisville to blow out Florida State, most overrated team in the country.
And total yardage for Jalen Milroe.
I don't think it's going to be him. It's going to be number 22, the running back, has not seen the field, and number 5 is going to take the show. So Milroe is going to have 210.
Okay. All right, Mark.
All right. Thank you, now.
Appreciate the phone call. Keith, Larry, and Nick, we're going to get right to you on the other side of our final timeout here in this first hour. It is a Pick 2 Friday. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Watch the Alabama High School Super 7 Football Championship presented by Alabama Community College System, December 6th through the 8th on Alabama Public Television. It's all the gut-wrenching, hard-hitting, high-flying action you've come to expect from... Wait, Alabama Public Television? Okay. Watch every game live December 6th through the 8th, only on your new home for high school sports, APT.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you happen to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army. The End Zone Sports Bar has done it again. This time, they're bringing their jumbo wings, handcrafted burgers, Tex-Mex, and New York-style pizza to the Midtown District with their new location on McMurtry Drive Northwest opposite the Target Plaza. Tuesdays at the End Zone means half-price burgers, and Wednesday is $1 jumbo wings all day long. The End Zone also features Sunday ticket for all your NFL viewing. The newest End Zone Sports Bar in the Midtown District on McMurtry near the Target Plaza. Get in the End Zone.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Friday, expect scattered showers throughout this entire day. High temperatures look to top out in the lower 60s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 30 miles per hour. Heading into your Friday night, a few lingering showers and thunderstorms going to be possible. Otherwise, we'll continue to sit under a cloudy sky, low temperatures falling into the upper 50s for the overnight. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Join us every week for Alabama football right here.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Little over an hour away for kickoff in what is game number 14 for both the Geraldine Bulldogs and the Madison Academy Mustangs. Looking forward to semifinal action in 3A football. It will be over the airwaves tonight, but we do have some alternate programming also coming up tonight over on Zone 2. Buckhorn basketball as the Bucks take on the Lee Generals as Buckhorn came up on the short end of the stick at Huntsville High on Tuesday. I had the call there as Buckhorn was up 32-19 at halftime, but ultimately Huntsville was able to rally back and a come from behind victory and down the Bucks at Huntsville High's gym. 58-54 was that final score. Huntsville High also won last night as well in a road contest at Mountain Brook. So Huntsville High is doing some damage right now on the hardwood, but we'll see what kind of bounce back we can get out of Patrick Harding's squad, and that'll be over on Zone 2 tonight. Keith is up next. How are you, Keith?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you?
Doing real well.
I just wanted to get on pick two.
You got it. Bama or Georgia?
Well, Steve, I'm an Alabama fan. I'm going to take Alabama, but I think Georgia's the best football team in the country. But
We'll find out tomorrow.
Well, I'm still going to take Alabama.
Louisville or Florida State?
Louisville.
And total yardage for Jalen Milroe?
I'm going to say 277.
It is yours.
Thank you, Steve. Have a good night.
Thank you, Keith. Larry is next. How are you, Larry?
It's actually pizza, Larry.
Say that again, Larry?
It's actually pizza, Larry.
Oh, Pizza Larry, I'm with you. I hope the roadways are being kind to you.
Yeah, I think my phone is making a bad connection here. Your producer couldn't understand me either. So.
That's all good. Yeah, you do sound a little muffled, to be honest.
I got on the Stork Road. I don't know what's going on with the phone connection, but let me just make this quick so we don't have to stuff it too long. Give me Bama, Louisville, and 401.
Ooh, that is yours. I don't know what I'm going to do with my dogs if they give up 400 yards of offense to Jalen Milroe. Yeah, you're trying to give me heartburn right here.
It's like on Price is Right when you try and take the high, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Nail down one end of it. All right, have a good day.
Stay safe out there on the roadways. That's Pizza Larry. Nick is next. How are you, Nick?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
I just want to jump on the pick 2 real quick.
You got it. Looking for winners. Georgia, Bama.
Roll Tide.
And Louisville or Florida State?
Give me Louisville.
And then total yardage for Jalen Milroe?
Give me 379.
It is yours. Just that simple. Right. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Bryce is next. How are you, Bryce?
You're doing fine, sir. Let me jump on pick 2 real quick.
You got it. Bama or Georgia?
I take Save It and the boys.
And Louisville or Florida State?
I take those Cardinals.
Total yardage for Jalen Milroe is your tiebreaker.
325.
It is yours. That is yours.
Hey, where's your help today?
What's that?
Where's your help at today?
My help?
West.
Oh, come on now. He's got the Johnny Carson hours. He's got the 4-day work week.
It's Friday. What are you asking?
Atlanta?
Yeah, seriously.
Is he on his way to Atlanta?
No, he is not. I don't think he's going. I am.
Well, I heard him.
I'll be heading over there tomorrow morning.
I knew you were there. You're going to still be friendly when you come back Monday, aren't you?
I will. I promise. I am.
Draw, right?
I promise. 2nd and 26 is still a scar, and so I was on the field for that one, and so I think I tried to plead someone else to go, and Wes said, "Nope, you're going, Steve." So I think there's some kind of mojo he thinks that I have, or not.
Oh, so that's why he's making you go this time. I like that. The boss. Thank you.
Thank you, Bryce.
Yeah. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. You have a good weekend, sir.
Sports Center update comes up after this 1-minute timeout. Then final call for phone calls. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll re-rack conversation that Wes and I had with Trevor Maddich, but we'll have time to sneak in your phone calls right after this 1-minute timeout. 256-576-4977 is the number. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Score big deals at Baumhauer's this football season and order from our Inflation Bites menu. Try our Buffalo Wing Special with fries and a complimentary beverage for only $9.99. And what's football without a cold beer? Our pitchers of Yingling and Yingling Flight are only $7.99, served all day, 7 days a week. And huddle up, football fans. Sign up today for our free NFL Pick'em contest at Baumhauers.com for weekly prizes. Baumhauers, legendary fun and legendary food.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Sports Center.
It's Conference Championship weekend in college football. I'm Chris Smith. Pac-12 title game kicks off in 1 hour on ABC TD with coverage underway on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Now, it's 2 of the top 3 candidates to win the Heisman as Michael Penix Jr. and 3rd-ranked Washington Huskies take on Bo Nix and the 5th-ranked Oregon Ducks. And Bo knows the Heisman would be a dream, but the team needs to stay focused.
It sounds crazy. You know, it's something that I always dreamed about, but
with it being, the situation, it's gotten crazier and crazier as the year's gone on. But I know there's a bunch of guys out there that are definitely worthy of the award. So, it's a huge honor, but at the same time, we got to keep the main thing, and make sure that we are prepared and ready for Friday.
Nix is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, according to ESPN Bet, with the finalists set to be announced on Monday, December 4th, and the ceremony on Saturday, December 9th on ESPN. Meanwhile, Florida State could be without quarterback Tate Rodemaker because of a head injury. The Noles get set to take on Louisville on Saturday with an ACC championship on the line and a possible playoff berth in the college football playoff. Rodemaker will be a game-time decision. If he can't go, freshman Brock Glenn will get the start. On the NFL, where the Browns will start their fourth different quarterback this season, as Joe Flacco will get the start on Sunday against the Rams with rookie DTR in the concussion protocol. Flacco signed with Cleveland on November 20th, a week after Deshaun Watson suffered a fracture to his throwing shoulder.
Hey, it's Greeny. Best weekend of the year. Saturday, it all gets settled on the field. Sunday, we find it all out from the College Football Playoff Committee, plus Niners, Eagles Sunday. See you Monday morning. Greeny, 10 a.m. Eastern, ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
.97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back up on top of Sand Mountain, inside a cloud here on Sand Mountain. Getting ready for the semifinal matchup between the Bulldogs of Geraldine and the Mustangs of Madison Academy. Kickoff coming 1 hour from right now. And it is a busy weekend, and it's also a busy weekend for both you and me. Drudy Arman is here at Geraldine High School as we'll have full coverage of the SEC Championship game on the Bama Recap Show bright and early Sunday morning. We're also going to carry the final reveal of the college football playoff rankings Sunday morning. That starts at 11 as well. How are you, Drew?
Good, Steve. How you doing, man? It's my first time to Geraldine, but
Me too.
Let me say the folks are great. Just smoothly got here, got parked quickly, and was able to make it up here to the stadium. And what a great visitor side they have to take care of us.
How about the crowd already filling in? We're an hour from kick.
Hey, man, I'm just telling you. A few years ago, I went to Fife in Collinsville, first time to Fife. And that was on WOTM, too, by the way. I was on television.
Oh, okay.
And radio, because Fife has radio. And I was there with the mayor, Freddie Kirby. And, of course, Freddie knows everybody on Sand Mountain.
Yep,
and we got there an hour before the game, and I'm just telling you, it rained. Now, it really did rain. Like, we've had some rain today, but it was raining. Since Freddie was the mayor, we ended up under a tent next to the TV camera.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, and, I mean, this place was so packed. I mean, they had police doing security, and he turned to us, and in the second quarter or something, he goes, you could rob every house in Fife and Collinsville right now. And Fife went on to win that game, win the state championship. And that was a special group from Collinsville. That team lost 2 games, Fife in the regular season and Fife in the semifinals. Or they could have been a state champion. So football here in Sand Mountain is special. And now we've got a special group of Mustangs that are trying to climb that mountain and get back to Tuscaloosa. And what a gut check over another Sand Mountain team they had last week. One of the best high school football games I've ever seen.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. For me, personally, it ranked right up there with a Decatur game that I called. It was a 3-overtime win against Benjamin Russell.
Well,
and I want to say that was 06.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it was probably up there with the game I called with our good friend Todd Blast. We were on top of the press box. Clay Chalkville, I think, had won 27 games in a row.
I had a feeling you'd go there.
And Huntsville High beat them. and I nearly blew the headset out. But but they did beat them.
Well, it's because you didn't have a fancy microphone to talk into.
The Glenn Laird
that
setup,
Glenn Laird
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And and I appreciate him for giving me some time on the field last week, which was unexpected but very nice. And so it was just a great game. That's the kind of memories you make. Those are the kind of moments you never forget. I'll never forget Cameron Toney and his reaction after he saw me after the game, because I had sent him a text before the game. What an opportunity it was for us, and to get that job done was very emotional. And last week was very emotional because of last year. Everybody understands that Sylvania had stopped the journey last year.
That's right.
It basically came down to 3 minutes 9 seconds. You got to score.
Yeah.
And that's what. And Madison Academy made some unbelievable plays. Jackson Reese, of course.
Ken Cherry.
Ken Cherry, who is going to be first team All-State. And I think that's why Coach Godsey was so emotional this morning on the show. It was just the ultimate gut check. And Poldiak, your quarterback, having to step up, deliver a ball. Like 2 plays before, he had just missed, but he threw a strike when he had to the most. The offensive line came through, then the defense gets the stop. It's complementary football, and that's what it's going to take tonight in an environment like this to continue to climb and get to the finals.
Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left here before we kick it over to a interview Wes and I did earlier in the week with Trevor Maddich. Also going to hear from Chris Lowe as well.
Nice.
And we talked to him yesterday over at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. But ultimately, what do you think about the SEC championship game tomorrow?
Well, I've kept the same opinion all week. I think it's going to be a classic game. I think it's the 2 best teams in the country. I think they should both be in the playoff. But unfortunately, with the way things have played out this year, you're not going to get the 4 best teams, in my opinion. There's more undefeated teams than there has been at any time.
Yeah.
I think that Alabama is going to win the game 27-23. I think that they have a special group that's come a long way. I think Jalen Milroe has improved more than any starting quarterback that I've seen during this journey with Coach Saban. But I have ultimate respect for Georgia. They've won 29 games in a row. But the reason I have Alabama winning this and then being in the playoff is, to me, that's going to carry a ton of weight. When you have a 2-time national champion that's won 29 games in a row, and the only last time they lost was to the same Alabama team, nearly 2 years ago. So I just think Alabama has balance now. I think the offensive line's improved greatly. Now, both sides have injuries. We'll see. The one I think of is the most doubtful for Georgia's Ladd McConkey. If he plays, he'll probably be a pitch count. Alabama, I don't think Jace McClellan's playing. So, and he's been a big part of the running game, but they have depth. They have Roydell Williams. They have Jam Miller. And then even Justice Haynes. Could he see some time? So I think Alabama. And a great point Rodney Orr made on the show this morning is Kendrick Law.
Yes.
He could have a bigger role offensively.
That is a really good point.
So they might line him up some in the backfield. We'll see. So I just think Alabama with their pass rush too, I think they've got to affect Carson Beck because he's been so good. He's actually kind of been under the radar because Georgia was supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
But he's been probably, I think, it's been Jaden Daniels and then probably Beck, the 2 best quarterbacks in the SEC.
Yeah.
With Milroe kind of flying under the radar. But this will be Milroe's chance. He's got to be a willing runner, though. He has to take off some. He has to hurt Georgia with his legs to, open up the rest of the running game and the passing game. And so I just think overall, and besides him making plays with his legs, I think Alabama has to win the plus-minus. One thing nobody's talking about after the miracle against Auburn is it was 3 turnovers for Auburn, none for Alabama.
Correct.
Milroe made some 2, 3, 4 bad decisions, but he didn't turn it over.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been turning it over. He can't turn it over. They've got to win the turnover battle. They've got to – whoever wins this game usually runs the ball the best.
Yeah.
And another underrated part for Georgia is Kendall Milton finally being healthy.
Getting healthy.
He's a load. He's 235 pounds. So I think Alabama's defensive line hasn't played as well the last few weeks. They've got to come out with intensity. They've got to win the line of scrimmage. So I just think overall the legs of Milroe – to win the plus-minus, and then I think overall, when you look at it, I think Alabama needs 3 or 4 sacks of Carson Beck to get Georgia off schedule, and also that'll play a part in the turnovers. And I think also, I just got this feeling, and it's happened in these games before, that a special teams play is going to be very key in this outcome, whether it be Georgia blocking a punt, which they've done in the past, or whether Caleb Downs makes a play as a punt returner. I just think, to me, those are the three keys. I think a big play in special teams, the plus-minus, and then Jalen Milroe / the running game having to be a huge factor for Alabama.
Our weekly conversations with Rudy Harmon presented by Environmental Comfort Systems. You can check them out at envcomfort.com. I can't thank you enough for coming out here. Let's enjoy some high school football, shall we?
Hey, man, look, the Pac-12 championship game is on, but this ought to tell you anything you need to know that I'm here, okay? I would not miss this. There's nothing like high school football. And this is the biggest Pac-12 championship game ever in the playoff era.
It is.
And yet we were joking on the show this morning, Steve. Tickets are going for $24. That's all you need to know.
Yes.
That's all you need to know about football.
That is
on the
all
West
you
Coast.
need to know. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. You'll hear Trevor Mattich and Chris Lowe walking you up to Madison Academy football. We'll have kickoff of the semifinals of the 3A championship matchup between the Bulldogs and the Mustangs coming up right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it, or I can use it for good.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
Slips through one tackle, still on his feet, breaking tackle, 40, 45, 50. Johnson in a foot race to the 45, breaking another tackle, 30, to the 25, to the 20, still on his feet, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. He's gone! Touchdown, Auburn! How about that? Rudy Johnson for 70 yards.
Back to throw Cockrell. Cockrell looking. Cockrell's going to throw a bomb downfield. Where will he go? This one will be touchdown! Big arm!
What I do today is very important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. I came up here and moved back hurting this morning. I'm saying that for a day of my life. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone. Forever.
A tratar de tomar la banda. Solamente queda el pateador. Y se lo está llevando. No ha pisado fuera. Se va a escapar hasta touchdown Alabama.
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight.
Riddle makes the grab 5. Angles by 3, 2, 1. Touchdown! 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 With 26 seconds to go. And make his ass quit!
I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in there. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean to make medicine sick. Man, dude, bad, fast. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. Fast. You, George Foreman, all you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you, I know you got him. Dick. But the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Straight back to back. Going deep. Throwing it down the far sideline. And it is caught for a touchdown. Devontae Smith wins the national championship. Down the left sideline and wide open behind the defense. One true freshman to another. A beautiful throw. A clutch catch. And Alabama is the national champion in overtime. 26-23 over Georgia.
He's got time. Up the middle. Right. Intercepted at the 35. At the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. He's in. Touchdown, Auburn!
Never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy.
You know, it's kind of like my dad used to tell me, when I used to go to work at the station, my girlfriend broke up with me, so I was treating the customers bad. And he said, "What's wrong with you today?" And I said, "My girlfriend broke up with me." He said, "Well, you got one problem, but if you keep treating the customers bad, you're going to have two more. I'm going to fire you, and I'm going to whip your ass for getting fired. So you're not going to have a girlfriend, you're not going to have a job, all right, and you're going to get your tail whipped."
I want it to be gain, not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall not forget the price I paid for it.
Here with you on the drive, walking you up to Madison Academy football. It is semifinal Friday across the state of Alabama, and there's no doubt it's a special time of year to be playing football on the high school level, as everyone playing tonight trying to get to Tuscaloosa to play for a state championship. And the Super 7 begins next Wednesday and rolls through the week there in Tuscaloosa. Our latest zone deal is still available. At least last I checked, there's still a handful left available for Bigfoot's Little Donuts. You can get $50 worth of Bigfoot's Little Donuts for just $25. I would recommend, there's so many. There's the chocolate peanut butter, and then there's the French toast. There's quite a bit to select this holiday season for Bigfoot's Little Donut. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. Click on the zone deals, and away again. Still just a handful of those are left available. There's still a few left for Apple Lane Farms as well. That's 80 for 40, although you can only use one of those coupons per visit, but it's a $20 gift card each time you go to Apple Lane Farms there in Decatur on Beltline Road. The ham and pineapple panini is fantastic. Our coverage of the SEC Football Championship game will fire up at noon tomorrow. Championship weekend begins tonight with the Pac-12 and what is the final Pac-12, at least that we know of. Oregon remains a 9.5-point favorite against the one team that gave them an L earlier in the year. Going to re-rack a couple of interviews that we did from during the week, but we're going to start with a little Q&A that I had yesterday with both the Georgia head coach, Kirby Smart, and Alabama head coach, Nick Saban. We're also going to hear from Trevor Maddich as well as Chris Lowe, and that'll walk you up to Madison Academy football over the airwaves here tonight in a semifinal Friday at Geraldine. Enjoy.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
No, he don't look like a freshman at all. He looks like a guy that's been playing for 3 years. He's instinctive. He's fast. He's fearless. He's everything that he was in high school. I mean, we got to see him. I've seen him play about 100 7-on-7 games at our stadium and at our facility when his high school team came over here all the time. And he's everything that we thought he was, punt returner. He's just a football player that is instinctive, great tackler. Just what you draw up when you want a defensive back.
Hey, Coach, hope you're doing well today. I did want to ask about the secondary for the Crimson Tide. I know you just were asked about Caleb Downs, but Kool-Aid McKinstry in particular, how well has he played this year, you think, Coach?
Done a really good job. I think Kool-Aid was very talented. He played a lot in the game that we played 3 years ago, the game there in Indy. And he was young, talented then, really good player.
I think, it's typical Alabama to have a guy opposite him who has developed really well in Terrion and has grown and played really well too. A lot of times the guy you forget about at a young age is the one that comes along and is hungry and keeps growing and getting better and aspires to be great, as opposed to a guy that maybe was more ahead when he got there and more capable of playing. So they both have made for a really good tandem, along with the safeties and stars, Malachi and Jalen, the portal kid they picked up. And they got a lot of good players, and they've had to play a lot of them. They've had about 6 guys that have rotated around and played in the secondary this year, and it's really impressive what they've been able to do with those guys.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hey, Coach, appreciate the time. I wanted to ask what you said right after the Iron Bowl of the dangers of winning a game like that, albeit you didn't play your best. Just if you could further explain what you meant by that and maybe how the week of practice has gone as well, Coach.
Yeah, well, I think that, sometimes when you win and don't play like you'd like to have played, players aren't as interested in why do we have to make these corrections? Why is this so important? You have to have a certain maturity about you as a competitor to understand that there's lessons to be learned when you win as well as when you lose. When you lose, everybody's really humiliated and really wants to go focus on all the things they need to do to play better because they don't feel good about themselves. So having the maturity to be able to manage and learn and build on the good things that you did, as well as still be able to learn the lessons that go with some of the mistakes that you made. I think that's the key to the drill. And I think our players have handled that, pretty well this week.
Coach, where do you think your team has improved the most since Texas in particular, Coach?
I think the team has improved, dramatically in terms of transformation of confidence, playing together, good leadership. But if you had to say where did we improve the most, I would say it's probably offensively. The transformation of Jalen Milroe at quarterback to be productive has been huge in terms of elevating the confidence of the entire offensive team. The improvement in the offensive line has helped us be able to have a little better balance in the game. The receivers have all played better. So if there is a specific area, I would say that would be, but I think the team as a whole has also improved because of their confidence, playing with more confidence.
Coach, I do have kind of one off-the-wall question. I asked Lane Kiffin the week of the Ole Miss-Georgia game about some Kirby stories, and he mentioned about a tug-of-war there at Alabama in which he beat Kirby in a one-on-one tug-of-war. I was wondering if you recall that as well, Coach.
I do not, but my money would have been on Kirby. If I was going to bet, I don't remember it, but that would be my comment.
Trevor Maddich is kind enough to join us from ESPN. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Steve. How you doing, man?
Doing real well, man. It's always great to talk with you, and this college football season has been, there's storylines all over the place, but certainly the most dominating one down here in the South is the Alabama-Georgia matchup. Let's dive into it. What do you think of this matchup, Trevor?
This matchup is crazy, and it's kind of hard to get your brain wrapped around, too, because it's hard to know the health situation for Georgia. I mean, last week, Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, and Ra Thomas didn't play. That's two of their top 3 receivers for sure, and then Ra is also one of their top receivers. And McConkey, I know, is listed as questionable for this game. Bowers, I don't think is listed as questionable, but, it's hard to know if they held him out of the Georgia Tech game last week because, he was hurting bad enough that they had to do it, or if he could have played at a high level. I know 2 weeks ago Bowers had like 7 catches, but he only averaged like 6 or 8 yards per catch. It was a really low average per catch. He didn't have the burst that he normally has. I mean, normally you see Bowers catch a ball, then he'll break a tackle, and then he'll outrun 3 guys to the end zone. And he didn't have that 2 weeks ago, last time he played. And so it's hard to know exactly how this is going to shake out because Bama's secondary is going to put a bunch of guys into the NFL. And, if Georgia's going to need a full complement of receivers in order to move the ball.
Yeah, so, it's not talked about very much, but I don't think anybody's completed a pass in a month on Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's one of those guys.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy if you think about it because you never call his name during the game anymore because they don't even throw to his side. But if they do, they'll run him deep and then throw somebody underneath. Anyway, you look at this game, Trevor, and Georgia to me is gotten better and better and better, and I really do think they're the best team in the nation. But Milroe does present, and the receivers for Alabama. Isaiah Bond is the fastest guy on the team, I guess. They present problems for Georgia.
They will. I mean, teams that can throw the ball deep have been able to have some success against Georgia. That's bad because that's what Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback, does best. And you're right, this group of receivers for Alabama, and Bond is one that's kind of led the way, but there are others as well, and tight ends too, that have kind of stepped up for Bama. Last year, I was actually mad at Alabama receivers because they just seemed so lackadaisical and so inefficient and so undisciplined in the way they ran their routes. Dropped way too many passes. Bryce Young had to hold the ball longer than he normally does because he couldn't just anticipate where they were supposed to go because he didn't trust them getting there. So he'd wait longer than he usually did and got hit harder and more often as I watched him than he had to because of those receivers. Well, this year they've kind of stepped up. They've accepted the challenge. And so I still think when they're fully healthy, Georgia has the edge at receiver, but I don't know how healthy they're going to be. And so it may well be that Alabama could have the edge at that position group.
Well, and that leads into so where are some edges you think for Alabama in this matchup, Trevor?
Well, start with pass rush. Georgia is one of the lowest in the SEC in terms of sacks. Alabama, I believe, is number 2 in terms of sacks. And they can bring guys off of both edges. I mean, with Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner, I mean, you can double one of them, but you can't really double both of them without taking everybody out of the pass pattern. And so it is I think Alabama, from a standpoint of pressuring the quarterback, has the edge coming into this. And when you combine the pressure with what they've got in the secondary, I think that Georgia's offense will have a more difficult time doing what they want to do in the passing attack than Alabama's will. Just as I think that Milroe is going to have more time to throw when he wants it. But Milroe also has been running a lot more. Against LSU, I think he had, 150 yards rushing, something like that. They're calling more called runs for him. Teams are having to slow down the pass rush to keep him in the pocket, which is kind of partly what happened against Auburn last week, where they kind of half-rushed 2 guys on the edges and did a non-rush with a spy in the middle. And Milroe had all day to throw the ball because they didn't want him to break out and run because they thought he might run for a 31-yard touchdown on 4th and goal at the 31, right?
Yeah.
That's not to say that Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback, can't run. Of course he can. But, I don't know that you need to slow down the pass rush against Beck the way you do against Jalen Milroe. And that, to me, is one of the edges that Alabama brings into this game.
Jalen Milroe in particular, how would you describe his growth this season, Trevor?
You know what, Steve? He started out skittish, and he looked skittish. He had happy feet in the pocket. He would bug out before he needed to. He was wildly inefficient. I mean, he could throw the ball down the field, but that basically amounts to put your back foot in the ground and then heave it up and over the top of everybody. And the guy either catches it or you overthrow everybody, and it's not that big a deal. Early in the season, when he was being asked to throw the ball in the mid route ranges, he wasn't able to do it consistently because that required that a quarterback read the defense understand where to go with the ball, throw the ball on time at the proper trajectory to get it over, one defender and drop it in before the safety can get there and things like that. And it requires a lot more nuance and subtlety. And Milroe didn't look like he was very effective at that. So he could run the ball, he could throw it over the top, and couldn't do a whole lot else with his arm. But you've seen him grow as the season has progressed in all of those things that I just talked about. And you've seen not just the physical ability grow, but you've seen his confidence grow. I mean, as I watch their games on Saturdays, I'll see him stand in the pocket and there'd be, defenders flying by him and kind of clawing around his feet and stuff like that. And he seemed like he had all the time in the world until it was time to leave. In other words, he wasn't freaked out by the pass rush. He wasn't freaked out by pressure. He continued to problem solve rather than just react to stuff. And I think that has, that's bled over to the rest of the offense, maybe even the rest of the team, because I think they see him with more confidence, and it gives everybody else more confidence. Especially that offensive line, because really the line should have been able to take over early in the season and help the young quarterback, and they weren't ready to do that earlier in the season. They're getting better, but it was Milroe that kind of had to do it. And when you look at that last play against Auburn, there's two things that really stood out to me. One was confidence. When Milroe, called the play, basically he said to the guys, according to published reports, Milroe said a quote that really should be a famous quote in Alabama lore going forward: "Let's go make a play." And then they did, right? And it wasn't in the national championship game to win the whole thing like Tua did when he threw it to Devontae Smith, but it was still a pretty big one on the road at Auburn to keep their playoff hopes alive. And then he stood back there and he didn't freak out, man. He waited. And then the receiver did a fantastic job of adjusting to what the situation was. He was one of the few guys back there that wasn't double covered. And what he did was he ended up kind of placing himself inside the sideline. In other words, he wasn't standing at the pylon in the corner. And when Milroe threw the ball, he adjusted back outside, and that ball, if it wasn't caught, would have dropped right on the boundary, right next to the pylon. I mean, so the first thing is confidence. The next thing is execution. The execution of that throw was brilliant, but the catch was also brilliant because he also kind of leaned back with his feet towards the man coverage defender to kind of create a barrier between his hands and the defender so that he could catch that ball cleanly. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful catch and a flawless throw that they believed they were going to execute from the get-go. And that all comes down to Jalen Milroe. It's your original question. Jalen Milroe is a completely different quarterback now than he was earlier in the season.
Talking to Trevor Matich right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And then not as much, at least in this state, being talked about Carson Beck and his development. And we certainly saw it beginning in the fourth quarter of the Auburn game. And we've seen that steady improvement out of Carson, Trevor.
Yeah, and what we've seen with him really is that he's managed this offense. And that's what he's needed to do. I mean, Stetson Bennett, was more of a playmaker than he got credit for, I think, from a lot of people that didn't pay close attention. You guys knew what Bennett could do, and people in the South knew. But I think around the country, people just automatically labeled him a game manager, and he was more than that. But it's important to manage the game when you've got an offensive line that's a Joe Moore Award semifinalist again this year, and you've got a running back stable that's had injury situations, but they're getting healthier now, and you can pound the rock. But what he's had to do, Carson Beck, is manage the passing attack in addition to getting in and out of the right plays and all the things, protection, things that quarterbacks need to do, because he's had different receivers step up and be capable at different times of the year. Early in the year, Thad McConkey was out. Brock Bowers making all the plays, and it looked like everybody else was just expecting Brock Bowers to make the play, and they figured they'd be playing a secondary role. Then Bowers gets hurt at the same time McConkey comes back, and McConkey's lighting it up, right? And now both of those guys are banged up, And, just to be able to get the ball in the places it needed to get, you look at the results for Carson Beck. And from a standpoint of completion percentage, he's got a higher completion percentage now than Stetson Bennett did last year. He's got a higher yards per attempt than Stetson Bennett did last year. And, so in some ways he's actually having a statistically better year than Bennett did. And I think that really is saying a whole lot because Stetson Bennett was an all-timer of a college quarterback.
There are I get news and notes from ESPN since we're an ESPN affiliate, and I'm sure you've probably seen this as well, but for those that don't know, I'll just read this out loud. This is straight from the ESPN notes that I was emailed this morning. Only 3 teams have lost their conference title game and still made the playoffs, something Georgia and Kirby Smart have already experienced. Alabama is seeking their 11th win in a conference title game, which would tie them with Oklahoma for most in any FBS team. Nick Saban is 10-1 in conference games in his career, including his time at LSU. The Tide are underdogs for the 4th time since 2010. I said the Tide are underdogs for the 4th time since 2010, and one of those times was being an underdog in the SEC championship game against Georgia, in which they won by 17.
Yeah, well, the big games are the big games, right? And for a while, it looked like Alabama kept on snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat. I mean, I'm not sure if this is the SEC championship game you're talking about, but remember when a few years ago, Tua started in the SEC championship game against Georgia, and Georgia was ahead late. Tua gets hurt, and then here comes Jalen Hurts off the bench cold and leads the game-winning touchdown drive against Georgia. Broke their hearts. Then we go back, of course, to the national championship game. Georgia's ahead, and freshman quarterback makes a bonehead mistake and gets himself sacked and ends up having an impossible throw to make to win the game. But he makes it, snatches Georgia's national championship away from them. It just seemed like no matter what Georgia did, Alabama was going to find a way through some combination of skill and voodoo to take it away from them. But then the last couple of years, Georgia took it away from Alabama, right? And so now you've got 2 coaches that are, I would say, peers when it comes to winning these big games. And so, there's matchups that both sides can point to that are their advantages. But I tell you what, from a coaching standpoint, I don't think either side has an advantage.
So let's skip to if Alabama was fortunate enough to win this game. Do you think they make the college football playoff? Which is, I can't believe I'm asking the question.
Wes, I think you would join me. They would have to, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think.
Whose last game was a victory over the committee's number 1 team. Georgia's number 1. So that they would have to be in. But see, that's what would create the chaos. The way things are set up right now, the top 4 teams are all teams that are, favored to win their conference championship game, and they're all undefeated. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State. Although I take it back, I think Oregon's favored to beat Washington.
Yes,
so that's kind of
they are.
Yeah, by 9 points.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the easy thing would be if all 4 of those current top 4 teams win, or doesn't really matter in the Pac-12. If Oregon wins, they're number 5 right now. They'll just replace Washington in the top 4. So, whatever happens there, that would be the easiest thing for the committee to deal with, right? The problem, there's several problems that could happen. If Iowa beats Michigan, which the end of the world is coming, get out your scriptures, and all that.
So you tell me Iowa's going to score a point?
Yeah. In the 2-0 game, right?
I think the team total on Iowa is 6.5. So that might. So the question is, will their defense or special teams score a touchdown? Sort of. But anyway, but the thing is, the committee has respected head-to-head so far, because Washington, I think, they're ahead of Oregon. Washington 3, Oregon's 5. Oregon, I think, is a better team right now. better team than Washington. But Washington beat them, so there you go. Texas is 7, Alabama is 8. I think Alabama's a better team right now, but Texas beat them. And so the committee is respecting that. So what happens if Alabama edges out Georgia, right? Well, I think Georgia has to be in the playoff. They have to be. I mean, the number 1 team in the country gets edged out in the conference championship game. How do you drop them from 1 to 5 or worse? You know, and again, if you're Florida State, you don't want to have this conversation happen, because if Florida State beats Louisville, then and Georgia loses to Bama in a close one, then the bar becomes, is the non-champ Georgia, in the committee's mind, unequivocally better than the conference champ Florida State? Because that's the bar. If the committee thinks that Florida State and Georgia are pretty close, then Florida State with the conference championship and undefeated would be in over a 1-loss non-champ Georgia. But I think that Georgia is unequivocally better than Florida State. And so, you know, I kind of think Georgia would be in. But if you have Alabama win the SEC and they're in the playoff, how do you keep Texas out? Because Alabama and Texas are, you know, teams with the identical records, and Texas beat them head-to-head. Texas beat the SEC champion head-to-head, who just beat the number 1 team in the country, right? And so you can make the case that, hey, that game happened in September. So what? That's when they played. And as a player, the concept galls me that you could have a bunch of people sitting in an air-conditioned room inputting data into a spreadsheet, the almighty spreadsheet, and keep putting new data in there to take 2 teams that have the same record and are both Power 5 and are both conference champions, and have it spit out some rationale for the team that won on the field to be left out, and the other team is in. I get it that head-to-head is not an end-all, be-all, but it needs to be a bar that's so incredibly high that you can barely see it up there from the ground. And so
you know what?
That,
well, I'm totally on board with you. I don't understand why people think Oregon's better than Texas.
I don't know why Texas is 7.
Yes, they played the second hardest strength of schedule in the nation, according to I use Sagarin for strength of schedule.
Okay.
A computer. They played the second highest.
Second hardest.
Oregon is 52nd.
In strength of schedule?
Yes. Now they're talking about something I've never heard of. The
strength of record.
Strength of record, which I don't get. That's a new metric, so I've never heard that.
That's
before.
a new one on me too, Trevor.
So, do you understand that, Trevor? The strength of the record?
Really, it's all stuff to stick into the almighty spreadsheet. Strength of record is how did you do against your schedule compared to what an average ranked team would do against your same schedule? So how they figure that out, I just have no earthly idea.
That's whatever. The strength of schedule is easy, right?
Right. Although I would say this, that the committee now does have Oregon 2 spots ahead of Texas. And
so I don't get that.
I think, frankly, if they played on the field at the same time right now, I think Oregon would. I think Oregon right now is top 2 in terms of. I mean, I think I would give Oregon the edge over Michigan if they played. Washington, they're going to have a chance. Florida State, you know, I think Oregon is just incredibly good, and they're really hot right now. But as far as the committee is concerned, they're already ahead of Texas. Texas is playing Oklahoma State in the championship game, and they're ranked way down there somewhere. They're 18th Oklahoma State. Whereas Oregon has Washington at number 3.
Right. So tell me why Texas and Alabama, if they weren't about to be in the same conference, should ever play again when all these other teams are playing these Mickey Mouse teams. Why shouldn't Alabama just play Kent State every year then? You see what I'm saying?
Well, you're totally right about that. You're absolutely right about that. It was a huge risk for both Texas and Alabama to accept that game. Now, keep in mind that when you look at Michigan, for example, you know, they beat Penn State, so did Ohio State. They beat Ohio State, so yay. But Michigan's non-conference schedule was East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Well, Alabama took the risk to play Texas, right? And they lost that game, and that's why they're at number 8 right now. And you're right. If they would have played Kent State, then Alabama would be undefeated right now, and they'd probably be in the top 4 right now. Certainly they'd be ahead of Texas. So, but the flip side of that is if you're in a competition with somebody else for that 4th spot and you have a win over a team like Texas in your non-conference and the other team is like East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green, then you will have the edge in the committee's mind. So you're taking a risk to get an edge if you win that game.
Sounds like Texas is going to be saying roll tide a lot on Saturday. Yeah, just because it does help a lot for Texas. And everyone is expecting them to have no problems against the Cowboys. But I would believe that is it a harder path for Texas than Alabama, you think, to get into the Final Four?
Yeah, Texas would need – they would need so much help. It would be along the lines of alien abduction. In other words, a spaceship would come down, and the space aliens would have to, abduct 3 teams ahead of them and take them off into space somewhere in order for Texas to be able to get there, no matter what they do against Oklahoma State, because Oklahoma State's ranked 18th.
Yeah.
Right? The Pac-12 is not going to eliminate itself. It's going to be Washington or Oregon's going to be in the top 4, most likely, depending on who wins that game. If Alabama and Georgia, there's going to be the SEC champion is going to be in and may have 2 teams in, right? And so, Michigan, it would take alien abduction of the entire Michigan football team in order for Iowa to win that game. So there'd be a lot of company in orbit for teams that got abducted. So Texas has one leg to stand on, and that is that if Alabama beats Georgia and Texas wins, they can say that they beat the SEC champ, have the same record as the SEC champ. The SEC champ is in. We beat them head-to-head, call that a playoff game. We should be in too. And that's where the chaos really gets.
Sports Talk, 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Doesn't anyone do any work around this joint anymore?